Hello friends and welcome to Walnut Hill. I'm thrilled to show you our 1807 historic home. It's in the Federal style and you'll see clues of that throughout. So come on in and I'll show you the living room first. As you take a look around, pay attention to the trim work in each room. It differs even just a little bit room to room. We're not sure yet if they had a different artisan for every room or if the one person that did all of the trim work was just given some artistic freedom. This room has one of my favorite fireplaces, mostly because it's one of the few that's in great condition. We have 9 fireplaces in this house and 5 chimneys, so quite a hefty load. And then we can come on through to the dining room. If the lighting isn't great, excuse us. We're currently doing structural work on the house, which required us to disconnect the electric. So we're relying purely on natural light. So in here we have a wood-burning stove that was actually custom built for this house. It's a monster. I don't know that we could, I think they brought a crane in just to move it. It's extremely heavy. The other cool part about this room is the relics that we've found in the wine cellar, in what used to be the servants' quarters, throughout the bedrooms, that sort of thing. Some of my favorite pieces are these little door handles. And a porcelain doorknob. And some books. I looked at the copyright and they are from the 1800s. I also love the candy striper. Whoop! Candy striper outfit. We found a sign from World War II. Medicine bottles, that kind of thing. So I actually got my 4-year degree in history, and so this is the perfect project for me. And one of the things that's really important to me is sitting down and thinking, how was this home intended to be used? 216 years ago, how did they use it? How was it built? And it makes sense to me that the natural entertainment flow would be the kitchen, the dining room, the living room, where you just came from. And so we're going to keep it that way. It just makes sense, but it also helps me feel connected to those who lived here before. So I'll go ahead and take you through to the kitchen. I love the size of this kitchen, and I'm so excited to be able to work in here, especially after being in apartment kitchens. Right now we have a folding table, but we are very excited to have a red oak table custom built to my height. I make a lot of bread. I cook from scratch daily, and so it's really important to me that I have tools that help me do my job well without my back aching. So eventually, this will be a beautiful table, but for right now, it's a folding table. We have some pretty incredible pantries. What I love the most about them is the original knobs. And I'll open. At the bottom, you can see some of the original wood floor. We'll be able to see more when we go upstairs. But I just love thinking that I'm using the same shelves that somebody else did 200 years ago. This fireplace did not come original to the home. We found the original fireplace downstairs in the wine cellar, and it was crumbling. So it just had not withstood the test of time. But we're going to do some things, maybe some German schmear, to make this fireplace seem like maybe it's older than it is. This is another pantry. So we'll go ahead and put one of those little knobs from the other room in here. We are told that this home had the first bathroom in Higginsport, our town, and so it wasn't originally a bathroom, but we can tell by the way the brick is continuous that this room was original to the home. I would assume that it was just used as a pantry. So the bathroom looks more modern, but we're going to be redoing it. We'll put in a soaking tub and some other really cool features. So those will be in future videos. Definitely needs a little bit of work. One of the cool parts about this bathroom actually is down here. You can see that a mouse or a rat over time chewed through this. You can tell it was a long time ago because it's been painted over and it's smooth. So that's another thing that leads me to believe that it was a pantry at one time. Hungry little mice. So now we'll show you one of the coolest rooms, the servants' quarters. I don't know that this is going to be much help, but I'll bring it up. Like I said, there's no electric in the house. Normally we have lighting in here, but there is no electric upstairs. So we'll just see how much you can see. Watch your step. So I love this room just because of the history it provides. This would have been where the servants lived, and then they would go downstairs, work in the kitchen, that kind of thing. So there is a storage closet here. You're not going to be able to see much, but we'll at least show you what we can. It is dark in there. I got a glimpse of the camera and it seems like you saw more than I thought. So that's a plus for today. In some of the spaces, you can see where people wrote their names. And based on our knowledge of previous owners, we can recognize some of these people. We will likely use this space for now as a storage room as well as a workout space. We've been told by many people that it would be a dream teenager hangout, so it will likely evolve into that one day, but for now we really need a storage room. Come on down and we'll show you what will be our homeschool room and my office. So that was the kitchen and the servants' quarters. We're now in the dining room, and I'll walk you through to the homeschool room. One of the clues, not that you need many, that this is a historic home is the sheer amount of doors. They didn't do open floor plans like we do in our buildings today. So every room was closed off. There were several reasons for that. It was a means to keep warmth in one room. If you're hanging out in the dining room, you don't want to be warming the rest of the house. So that's one of the purposes. This is one of my favorite locks in the house. It just sounds really cool. So this actually just goes out to our porch. We have one daughter right now, but we're hoping to fill these rooms with lots of babies. So we're going to be homeschooling, and this is the room where they will be educated. So we lovingly call it the homeschool room. Can I walk on this floor, babe? Okay. So our first major project in this home was fixing the structure of the home. The main beams had been eaten by termites. So this area, although you can see that there's still a dip in the floor, it is not like it used to be. It will have that old house character. It won't be completely level, but we weren't able to even walk in this room of the house safely, and now we can. So it feels very exciting. This is also a really cool fireplace because you can see the grate. This is one of the areas where you can see we'll be doing some restoration. The woman who lived in it before was mostly living in the downstairs. She was a single woman for quite a few years. And so this was one of her closets, and we do not need it to be a closet, so we'll go ahead and take this out. As you're coming through here, you can see a really cool piece of architectural history. We are on the banks of the Ohio River. We're just a few blocks from it. As I've talked to local historians, they've told me that they believe that this design is an ode to the Ohio River because of the wave design. There are other houses in the area that have very similar designs, so we're pretty sure that's what it's for. We were lucky enough in this buy that we were given some pieces of furniture. So we have a piano that many other people have learned and played on, and now our little kids are going to learn to play piano on there. This is going to be my office. I am so excited to be able to walk in here. That's one set of pocket doors that we fell in love with. The other set is upstairs. When you zoom in here, you can see some of the work that needs to be done. These are old original windows, which are absolutely incredible, but it means that we get a lot of condensation, which results in quite a bit of weathering. So we have some work to do. Or our contractor does. This is a really cool piece of history. I'm not really sure what it is. Babe, do you know what it is? No, but it's just really cool. I'm assuming it was for a telephone or electric. So I'll go ahead and show you the upstairs. We love this spot. We call it the grand staircase. We're still waiting for a chandelier to replace this one, but it's got to be a pretty chandelier to match this staircase. Another piece of architectural history is right along here. It looks like a really cool design piece, but actually it was also and mostly functional. They needed to be able to do a curve on this baseboard. And so they took chinks of wood and made the curve. You can also see it once we get to the top of the stairs. this is where I'm talking about. So I'm actually going to flip you around. This is where you can see one of our projects. The roof needs to be repaired. We have a metal roof, so luckily we will be able to repair it. We won't need to replace it. The roof on the main part of the house is in great condition, but this one needs a little TLC. This is also one of the better examples of areas where we'll need to do some restoration work along the windows. We're not really sure what ate at that. We don't know if it was squirrels, if it was birds, but whatever it is, it needs to be fixed. You can see up on the ceiling where there was a roof leak. So that is some of the definite work that we will be needing to work on. So first, I'll show you the master bedroom. I love this room for quite a few reasons, but the main one is the floor. So we can see the original floor, and we can see the way that they used to actually paint the floors. So in other rooms, you can see the paint more clearly. So what they would do is they would actually paint around a rug. That was a very common practice. So you can see that line. Some people might want to fix that, but honestly, I just kind of love it. Or I'll put a rug down the same size. We found some really cool records. And old books. What's this one? The Victory Binding of the American Woman's Cookbook, Wartime Edition. So these are the pocket doors that made my husband and I really stop and realize that this house was something we really wanted to move forward with and see if we could get. Just something about these pocket doors screamed special, amazing, we want it to us. So I'll open these doors. This is one of the rooms that we're trying to decide if it's going to be my husband's office or if it's going to be a nursery. We're having to work out the logistics of putting in a second bathroom, and we're not sure which room would be better to incorporate that in. So as time goes on, you'll be a part of the process in these videos, but we'll call it tentatively my husband's office. I love that so much. This is a painting method. I believe it's called wood graining. So this is not what the original wood looked like. It's a method of painting. Imagine the skill and workmanship that that took. And you can take it right on up to one of the bigger projects of the house. From the water leak, the roof leak. Oh my gosh, the sun's right in my eyes. This window has been detached, so it will need to be reattached and have some repair work. I don't know if you'll be able to see very well with the sun, but we've had a bird fly in once when we were here and fly up into the attic, so I'm sure we'll have plenty of surprises waiting for us up there. This is a really cool fireplace. That's another part about this house that I love. It's different. This fireplace is different than the one downstairs. They didn't just get one and call it good. Then we'll come through to the foyer. So our foyer is actually going to be a very utilitarian space, which is thrilling to me because it is huge. So this space had the table here when we came to look at it, and I kind of love having it here. So we're thinking that this will be an area where our family can gather to do puzzles and games. We'll have books here so people can read and just have this be an enjoyable space, and you can look out at the river at the same time. I had mentioned that we got some furniture with the sale, and this is one of the pieces. The other is in what will likely be the nursery. And I had a historian come look at it and an antiquer, and they do believe that it is from the late 1800s. It's absolutely incredible. It's a beautiful piece. I'll never part with it. This room will be our daughter's room. She got to choose it. It's called the blue room. When we walked in, it had blue bedding, blue rugs, these blue curtains, and blue on the wall. Blue is her favorite color, so it's a perfect fit. She has a gorgeous view of the river as well. This room is the most well-preserved room in the house. I'm not positive why, but it is. The floor's in great condition. The fireplace seems to be in great condition, although it does seem, I'm not sure, I don't know enough about fireplaces to know if that's normal. They are coal fireplaces, so they're a little different. Something to note in these bedrooms is something that I learned while we were doing our public tours back in October. And when you look at these closets, you'll see a closet with shelves. And on the other side, you'll see a closet with hooks. And what this was called was a press. And what that meant was people would hang their clothing several items thick, and then they would close the door, and it would literally press the clothes and keep them looking shipshape with a little less work from the maids. This is one of those spaces where you can really see how incredible these baseboards are. This is my knee. This is the baseboard. They just don't make them like this anymore. And as we come through here, we'll go to what we think is going to be our nursery, but also might be my husband's office. We'll see. This room is in the most rough shape, I would say, of the upstairs. It's also kind of a mystery room to us, and I'll explain why. So you can see that there was quite a bit of damage to the ceiling here. The fireplace is in really rough shape. It looks like there was a stove here at one point. You can see that it was covered, nailed down metal, and this would have been the vent. But what makes this room a little bit of a mystery to us is when you look at the trim work, it's very basic compared to the rest of the house. And it just doesn't look as well done. You can see, like here, there's quite a bit of gap between the wall and the trim, as well as over here. It just doesn't match with the rest of the home. So we don't know if there was an accident in here or if this turned into perhaps the nursery where a nanny would stay. Samuel Waterfield was one of the owners of this house, and he fathered 15 children. So they would have had to have a nursery, and I don't know how you do it without a nanny. So it's possible that this room was just not as fancy because it was the nanny's space. I'm not really sure. Hopefully we'll be able to find out through historical records. Over here is some of the grosser bits of restoring a historic home. So birds have been able to come in. I told you the story about that. And you can see over here, my sweet husband scraped bird poop off before our public tours. We've found bird poop throughout the house. I don't tell you this to gross you out. I tell you this to give you a real view of what it's like to get a historic home. There are things that you don't expect. That was definitely not on my list of what I thought I would be dealing with. Not that big of a deal. We'll be able to sand it off and give it a good clean and refinish it. But there's some nasty bits in historic homes, no matter how beautiful they are. This is another piece of furniture that my antiquing friend believes is from the late 1800s. You can also see in this room another one of our projects. We'll be replacing the electric throughout the house. In all of the rooms besides the kitchen, I believe, there's only one outlet in the whole room, and it's right next to the light switch. So it doesn't really work well for modern day life, so we'll be putting in additional outlets. So as you've seen throughout the tour, highly likely you've seen these blue pieces of tape. Those are my notes for where I want outlets and different electrical bits. So we'll come on out to the foyer again. So this is the most exciting part. We're going to go down to the wine cellar. That is going to be an Airbnb within the year. So we're really excited to get that going. So I'll go through and I will open the door for you. And babe, do you want to just meet me outside? Okay. Welcome to our wine cellar. The lighting is going to be difficult in here. Like I said, we don't have electric right now, so we're relying purely on natural light in a basement with a stone tunnel. So come on through and we'll give you a tour as best we can. So this room right here, although it might not appear to be a room, this will be the living room of our Airbnb. Back behind my husband, this will be walled off, as it will be all the ugly stuff, the furnace, things like that are very necessary, but nobody wants to spend their time looking at a furnace at an Airbnb. So as you come on through to here, this is the darkest space, so we'll do the best we can. Right here is going to be the bedroom in the Airbnb. And here will be the bathroom. And if you come on through, this room will be nice because you'll be able to see more of the stone and brickwork. So this will be a dining room and kitchenette area where families can just spend time together. We will have a functioning kitchen, so they'll be able to cook food and things like that. My plan is to keep the stone almost exactly as it is, clean it up just a little bit, but I love the look. I think it's absolutely incredible and it gives it a lot of character. But we'll take care of these spider webs before the guests come. You can see they tried to whitewash some of this, and either they decided it wasn't worth the project, or I don't know, they just gave it up. This is a really cool view. You can see the archways I'll tell you a little bit of the history of this wine cellar right after I tell you about this space. I know I keep saying I'm really excited about this space, but it's another space that I'm really excited about. So this is going to be my walk-in cooler and root cellar. Part of our goal with this house is to grow a lot of our own produce, and then I'd like to be able to store what I can through winter and into the first part of spring. This is a perfect condition for the root cellar. There's a little bit of humidity in the air, not too much. It's naturally a cool area. So we'll have things like onions, potatoes, garlic, squashes, beets, carrots, parsnips in here. We'll also have a large walk-in cooler. A lot of what I do is home fermenting, canning, that sort of thing. So I could really use a bigger space than your conventional refrigerators. This right here is a treacherous stairway up to the kitchen. So we can go ahead and walk out. We're finishing up our tour. I'll tell you a little bit of the history of this wine cellar as we walk, though. The original owner of this wine cellar, this whole house, was a whiskey dealer. So that explains why he could afford such a grand home. But legend has it that he would take his horse and buggy through here to load and unload his wares. So I think of that every time I walk through this tunnel. Also, the ferns, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but the ferns just look absolutely beautiful, almost bioluminescent, with the sun shining through them. This is where our contractor has been doing a lot of the structural work these past few weeks. Thank you so much for stopping by and seeing our historic 1807 farmhouse. We are so excited to be able to show you more footage. This was just a general show of the house, and we'll be able to get into details later. We'll be planting roses to climb up these stone walls, and we'll be eventually putting in an orchard and gardens. So you can come along for that ride. Go ahead and click subscribe and you can follow along our journey. Thank you.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. Golden, golden, I'll follow